thus far. So we are going to break for coffee soon, you'll be pleased to hear. But before we do, we've got our headline sponsor, Zumtobel Group here. I'd just like to say a huge thanks to John, because we try as a social enterprise to keep our conferences as affordable as possible so that as many of you can get here as you can. We're not charging ridiculous amounts of money, but we can only do that if we've got great sponsors on board, and John and other people in the room are supporting Y Sport, and we really do appreciate it. John is the UK Sales Director, so I'd like to introduce you to the floor, please. Thank you.
So good morning, everybody. So over the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Zumtobel Group. I'm going to show you some of the sports lighting projects that we've completed. And then I'm going to talk about lightening the load, maybe how we could help you going forward. So first of all, who is Zumtobel? So Zumtobel are a major global lighting company. We're one of the major players. We focus on general lighting. So when I say general lighting, it's lighting for all kinds of applications, sports obviously, education, industry, retail, street lighting. We sort of have a whole portfolio of lighting. We are the European market leader, and we're also one of the suppliers, major suppliers of lighting components across the industry, in many instances to our competitors. So really we focus on the three brands within the Zumtobel Group. There is Zumtobel. Zumtobel has been around since 1950, and that's the parent company. We have the Thorn brand, which you may be familiar with. Thorn has been around since 1928, and more recently we acquired a company by the name of AC/DC about 3 years ago, but they've been around for about 18 years or so. And all of these different brands sort of work together to enable us to offer complete solutions. Then we have Zumtobel Group Services, which I'll not tell you about right now because that comes into the lightening the load bit towards the end of this presentation. In terms of our presence, we have operations in around 90 countries, 6,500 employees worldwide, 1,800 of which are in the commercial sector. And we have 13 factories operating across 4 continents. So what is this phenomenon called light? Well, if I ask my colleagues who work in R&D, who work in our technical department, so these are the guys that we put white coats on and lock in rooms to come up with all this clever stuff, they will tell us that light is electromagnetic radiation measured on the electromagnetic spectrum between values of 380 and 760 nanometers. True. But what is it to us? We're actually more concerned with the application of light. So apart from providing adequate lighting levels that help us to see and to carry out tasks, lighting also has a big impact on how we feel, on our well-being, whether we feel lethargic, energetic. We can help to create an ambience in a building or space. So that's what lighting is to us. So what I'd like to do now is, oh, and by the way, I heard Claire mention the design principles that you have generally for designs. Many of these principles are at the core of good lighting design. So, what do we do in terms of sports lighting? Well, we cover all kinds of applications, as I said. It could be indoor sports, could be outdoor sports, surrounding areas of sporting facilities, back office areas. So it's not just the field of play for lighting. So in many instances, the field of play makes up about 20% of the total lighting stock. And it can be big or small, the projects we get involved in. I'm just going to show you just a few examples of some projects that we've completed. So this is the Palo Trento arena in Italy, a basketball arena. On the left, of course, you can see a very famous landmark, Wembley Stadium. The vast majority of lighting within Wembley Stadium, including the arch and the flood lighting, is provided by Thorn. And then almost at the other end of the scale, we see Spennymoor Football Club. Spennymoor is where Thorn's UK HQ is based, up in County Durham. So we have a factory there, offices there, and logistics there. And this is our local football team. So we provided the lighting for the football stadium there. We can see on the left here Budapest Aquatics Arena, and on the right a UK project, Dolan Aqua Centre. And as I say, it's lighting for all kinds of applications, whether that be a velodrome, a gymnasium, football training field, tennis courts. That's what we do. Could be for building facades, back of office areas, indoor and outdoor car parking. And this is one of the UK case studies that you can find on our website, Gateshead Leisure Centre, where we provided the lighting throughout with the Zumtobel and Thorn brands. It's the biggest council gym in the country. It got a very good rating, BREEAM rating, reduced energy by over 50%, reduced maintenance, and transformed from a dim and not inviting space into an inviting place. And in this instance, this one was Salix funded. And we have Energy Gym. I think Energy Gym have around 100 gyms in the country. This is the Liverpool one, where again, we replaced all of the lighting, refurbished it with a lighting trunking system, met the sustainability targets, and again, delivered more than 50% energy savings, reducing maintenance again. So, lighting revolution. If we look at where we've come from and where we are now with lighting and where we're going, well, in the past we've had the workplace guidelines. We had fluorescent lighting, which is still ubiquitous, still can see it just about everywhere around the country. And at the time we thought that was extremely efficient. We've got emergency lighting regulations. And then around 9 years ago came this disruptive technology, LED lighting. And at the time that was around 100 lumens per watt. So when we talk about lumens per watt, it's how much light you get out of a light source, which is thereabouts comparable to fluorescent at the time. Then we have tunable white, where you can change the colour appearance, whether it's a warm light or a cool white, within one lighting fixture, and energy efficiency laws. Right now we're at around 130 lumens, in fact even 140 lumens per watt with LED lighting. And it's more human-centric lighting now, not just functional lighting when we look at the design principles. So where are we going in the future? Well, we're going to have more and more integrated lighting, energy management. We'll use the lighting infrastructure for tracking of people and objects and for use of space. We expect to see a ban on metal halide and high-pressure sodium lamps. If you think it's not many years since, only a few years since we've banned the tungsten filament lamp, we expect to see most of the street lighting that you see, or half of the street lighting that you see now, we expect those light sources to be outlawed within the next few years. We'll be more connected with circadian timelines on how lighting influences how we feel. Industry 4.0, which you may have heard of, we've already actually got Li-Fi in trial. So if you think about Wi-Fi and how you pick up your Wi-Fi, right now we've got trials where you can access the internet through a beam of light. You would think is out there, but it's not. It's actually almost with us now. And we expect to reach 200 lumens per watt over the next few years. And of course, more and more lighting plays more and more of a part with the Internet of Things, whatever that may mean to you. So this Zumtobel Group services. So this is where we offer lighting as a service. So that begins with an energy audit and a site survey. So we conduct a complete survey. Then from there we'll come up with a lighting design, meeting all of the client specification requirements, or even helping the client to write the specification. What we can also do is finance this. We can install it and we can maintain it. So this is a completely different approach to lighting, because in the past, historically, what we've done traditionally is design and supply lighting. But this goes a whole step further. And the benefits for the customer here is that the customer gets the benefit of energy savings from day one. The financing is extended over the full term of the contract, which can be flexible. Zumtobel looks after all of the aspects. And the client also benefits from introduction of new technology through the cycle of the contract, if we call it that. So I'm going to look at an actual example. So this isn't a theoretical example now. So this is one customer, one client with two sites. So this is site A, where we looked at the general lighting, the emergency lighting, and the outdoor lighting. So this slide here shows us year one. So this is based on cost of electricity of 11 pence per kilowatt hour, with burning hours of 4,316, which is sort of 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. A climate levy change of 0.59 pence per kilowatt hour, and a 7-year contract. If we look at year one, their existing energy cost for lighting was 71,500. With the new LED lighting solution, that reduced to 28,264. The maintenance costs reduced from 3,200 to 2,000, and the CO2 cost from 3,700 to 1,462, giving total savings in year one of £46,000. If we project this then over 7 years, based on an annual increase of electricity of 5%, inflation at 2%, a potential ECA benefit, probably isn't time to describe exactly what that is. Around afterwards, if you want to talk more about what enhanced capital allowance is, happy to explain that later. But if we look at this over a 7-year period, we see the existing and new costs of energy in year 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But the way that this was packaged, it was financed over 5 years. So in years 6 and 7, you see a massive increase in the energy savings and reductions. So site B, so this is the same client, but site B is a smaller site, and this is looking at general lighting and emergency lighting. So again, the first slide shows the 1-year impact, based on the same parameters, 11 pence per kilowatt hour, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 0.59 pence for the climate change levy. Again, over a 7-year period, we see, in year 1, we see energy costs reduced from 27,000 to 10,000, maintenance reduced from 1,200 to 500, and CO2 reduced from 1,400 to 500. Total savings in year 1, 19,000. And again, projecting this over 7 years, same parameters, financed over 5 years, but looking at the 7-year savings, then we see total savings on this site for £67,000. And that includes the rentals in this slide. It didn't in the previous slide. So in summary, for this particular client, what this meant was they would say the new LED for site B solution cost £1,700 per month for 5 years, with total saving over 7 years of £67,000. And on the site A, the cost of this was £3,400 per month for 5 years, with a total saving over 7 years of £189,000. So this client saved £256,000 over a 7-year period, and this is an actual case study, not theory. So what does this mean? This means that you can actually refurbish your lighting. You can do it without having to find the capital of doing it, because all of the cost is paid for out of the savings. So it becomes cash positive in year 1. So what does that mean for sporting facilities? It means that you can use your capital to spend on equipment or other facilities rather than on the lighting. But at the same time, you're ticking the boxes of reducing the impact on the environment, reducing energy. And one thing we can only be sure of is that over the next 10 years, that energy costs are going to rise significantly. We've based our costs on 5% per annum. We think that may actually be conservative. So think differently about your lighting infrastructure, and thank you for your time.